you for joining us for this edition of The Fifth Estate. I'm your host, Taylor, and today we go inside a riveting case that has sparked controversy throughout our country. The case in which you will see this evening is the Bedford v. Canada case. It is one of the major cases involved in the turning of prostitution laws throughout the country. It actually has led to the legalization of brothels among our fair country. The question is, though, remaining everywhere, is prostitution on the way to being legalized?
Today I'm outside the courthouse dealing with the Bedford v. Canada case. This case struck controversy when the courts ruled in favor of the defendants. The judge ruled in the woman's favor because it infringed upon their freedom of expression, freedom of association, and life, liberty, and security of person. Here's an exclusive interview with Miss Bedford herself. Hi, I'm Terry Jean Bedford. I have 14 years' experience working as a prostitute in Windsor, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, Edmonton, and Fort McMurray. I worked as a street prostitute, a massage parlor attendant, an escort, an owner of an escort agency, and a dominatrix. I have encountered brutal violence while working as a street prostitute. I have been raped and gang raped too many times to count. One time, I was actually beaten on the head with a baseball bat and tortured. I was 16 when I was sent to a boarding house in Windsor, Ontario. I met an abusive 37-year-old drug dealer and drug addict who became my boyfriend. He introduced me to drugs and I became an addict. I became a prostitute as a necessary evil to fund me and my boyfriend's addiction. I then moved to Toronto and returned as a massage attendant, where I was charged multiple times with being an inmate at a brothel. I would love to return to work, however, doing so, I would be exposed to criminal liability.
The case was ruled in the favor of Terry and the two other women because their right to life, liberty, and security of person was violated. This right was violated because they were vulnerable to the violence and illness that come along with criminalized prostitution. Their right to freedom of expression was also violated when they were not allowed to work in their profession as prostitutes. We now turn to our expert advisor, Sue from Harvard. The fact is that the issue of prostitution is one of many flaws in the Canadian justice system. It would actually help the Canadian government if it was to legalize prostitution. First, it would be able to tax the money made off of the act of prostitution. It would also clean up the criminal activity that goes along with it because it would be monitored. It would also be safer for the prostitutes themselves, as well as health issues such as STDs, STIs, passed among people. It's also better because everything would be monitored by possibly video cameras. There would obviously be documentation of who came to and from prostitutes in order to make everything just a safer environment. Here at the Fifth Estate, we took to the streets to see what people in society thought of the ongoing issue. What is your opinion on prostitution?
Well, prostitution is going to happen in our society regardless if we like it or not. And if it's legalized, at least we can control it a little bit, and we don't have to worry about the violence or the dangers for the actual girls that are involved. So in fact, if I have an opinion, it's to support it, kind of go with it, and embrace the fact that it's going to happen, but all we can really do is kind of raise awareness that, these are the places where it can happen or it can't happen, stuff like that.
I think it's unfortunate that our government is moving into the direction of legalizing prostitution. I think that we should be looking out for the dignity of all women, and by legalizing it, we are undermining that. I don't think that the government, if it was to tax this practice, is a good source of revenue. I think that the government should pursue more ethical means to raise funds. I think it, to be quite frank, it is a disgusting practice that should be discouraged. And I hope we move in that direction.
I've
I personally don't think prostitution should be legalized. I think it's just disgusting, and they use women as objects, and it demeans them, demoralizes them. But since they are making it legal, I guess it makes it safer for women, because women would do it regardless. I just don't believe in it.
Legalizing prostitution means you're selling women as a product.
The solution to prostitution would be to legalize it. Therefore, my life would drastically change.
Thank you for tuning in tonight to the Fifth Estate. Tune in tomorrow when we have the Willard Vegas stories uncovered.